When you think of Volvo drivers, you probably think of very respectable, law-abiding citizens. It makes sense for a brand that is known first and foremost for being safe. But it's also not the whole picture.
For example, this Volvo XC60 Recharge that I'm sitting in makes 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. Not bad.
So it's more powerful than you would expect from a brand focused on safety, although I would argue that it's a bit more of a byproduct of Volvo's other mission, which was efficiency. This is Volvo's T8 powertrain, which is available across their lineup, except in Volvo XC40 and their cross-country wagons. It's a plug-in hybrid powertrain, which uses a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which by itself makes 312 horsepower, and that's mated to an 18.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack and a 143 horsepower electric motor that combine to produce that 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque. In XC60, this powertrain should produce about 36 miles of all-electric driving. Now, I'll get more into the driving dynamics in a bit, but just because the car is powerful does not mean it's sporty. Where I think this car truly surprises is in its luxury. I think the general populace has the perception that Volvo is a step above the Toyotas and Hondas of the world, but not quite at the level of the BMWs and Mercedes, and I think that's not true. I think it is definitely at that level, especially this XC60 Recharge Ultimate Black Edition, which is the creme de la creme of Volvo XC60s. It achieves that luxury both in terms of its features and in terms of its price. This, what I would argue, is a compact crossover, has a sticker price of $76,700. So what are you getting for all of that money? Well, that powerful and efficient powertrain and a lot of luxury. Black Edition is pretty self-explanatory. Everything on the outside of this car is black, including the logos. I think it looks really sleek, but unlike some cars, which I think require a stealth appearance package in order to look good, the XC60 looks good in basically any flavor you order it in. I think Volvo's current design language is just beautiful. It's pretty conservative, but that makes it feel very premium and sophisticated, and I'm quite a fan of it. I'm actually pleased to see that the 2025 Volvo XC90, which has been slightly redesigned, has kept basically the same core components as the prior generation, because these vehicles are just really beautiful, and the XC60 is no exception. Now, in terms of the features you actually get, on the outside you get these massive 21-inch rims, which look really good, and this has an adaptive air suspension, which means even though you're getting these really large rims, the car still rides really well, and it will self-level and raise and lower if you need to put cargo in the back, or when you are getting into the car, it raises up just to make it a little bit easier to get inside. So that is a luxury feature that this Ultimate Black Edition has that not all XC60s have, but most of them come inside. Sitting inside this car is just a luxurious experience, and it starts with the design. This is effortlessly beautiful in here. I am a huge fan of Volvo's current interior design. It is the perfect balance of physical controls and minimalism while still being elegant and luxurious, not too minimalistic. I actually prefer this interior design to the interior found in the new Volvo EX90, which is Volvo's electric flagship SUV that they just recently launched. That one takes minimalism a step too far, in my opinion. I much prefer this, and I'm happy to see again that 2025 XC90 continues to offer a very similar interior to this, because I find this very beautiful. In terms of luxury features in here, I have a crystal glass shifter, which is just very elegant. I am currently getting a really excellent massage. These seats are very comfortable. All of the surfaces through here are soft touch and very premium feeling. The Bowers & Wilkins stereo system in this Volvo, and in most Volvos that have this upgraded Bowers & Wilkins stereo, is one of the best in the industry. It is truly one of my favorites. You can customize the sound of the stereo system, and my favorite is the Jazz Club sound setting. It just sounds really good, and it's so quiet in here too. Everything just feels and looks so sophisticated and upscale. I can open my sunshade just by swiping my finger back, and this panoramic sunroof is then exposed. So the XC60 is quite a bit smaller than the Volvo XC90, especially on the outside. You can just tell that the XC60 is the junior of the two in terms of size. But sitting here in the second row of the Volvo XC60, I'm 6'2", sitting behind my ideal driving position. I have plenty of knee room, plenty of foot room, and even with this panoramic sunroof, still have enough headroom. So if you don't need the third row that the XC90 provides, I would save a few grand and go for the XC60. It's going to be a little more dynamic, a little cheaper, and it's still plenty spacious here for full-size adults. Now I can fold down this center armrest to reveal a pair of cup holders that pop out. We have two USB-C charging outlets. The outboard seats are heated in this Ultimate Black Edition trim level. My armrests are very comfortable, dual mount pockets, and there are even air vents in the B pillars for rear seat passengers, which is very nice. So this is a very premium back seat. It doesn't feel that much smaller here in the second row than XC90, and I especially love this panoramic sunroof. From this vantage point, it seems like the back section is bigger than the front section, so I really do feel like this is an open and airy cabin. Even with this dark interior, you can get lighter interiors. I don't know about in the Black Edition, but in other trim levels. But even in this dark interior, it still feels very airy and open here in the second row.
Getting behind the wheel of the XC60 Recharge Ultimate Black Edition, like I said, this car is more of a luxury vehicle than a performance one. There is a more sporty, athletic version of the XC60, the same Recharge powertrain, but it's the Polestar engineered one. So that has the same 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque as this Ultimate Black Edition, but it receives some suspension upgrades and other dynamic upgrades from Polestar, which used to be Volvo's performance division, now is its own all-electric sister brand, in order to make that vehicle a bit more dynamic. Because taking corners in this vehicle, you can tell it is not that athletic of a car. It just leans quite a bit in the corners, and the steering never gets heavy enough for my liking. I have the firm steering setting on right now, but it's still lighter than I would like in an athletic vehicle. But for a comfortable luxury vehicle, it's perfect. And it's also why I'm so impressed by this adaptive air suspension, because we are riding on those 21-inch rims, which look really good on the outside, but I was worried that that was going to lead to a pretty uncomfortable ride, because my memory from the Volvo V60 Polestar engineered, which is the kind of the wagon version of this vehicle, that had a pretty firm ride that rides on Öhlins dampers, and it's meant to be pretty sporty. I do remember that feeling pretty firm. This is much smoother. I would say this is a very good suspension. Even though we are riding on those big 21-inch rims, it's still very smooth, and that kind of sums up the driving dynamics of this car. It's really luxury tuned. It's very quiet in here. You are surrounded by this very elegant cabin. Let me turn on my massage. There we go. Now I'm getting a pretty good massage. I'm actually really impressed with it. I would say the intensity of it is really good, and overall, it's just so comfortable in here. The power is something that we need to talk about though, because when you put your foot down, 50% of the time, it's good. You get the instant acceleration from the electric motor, and then the gas engine kicks on and really rockets you forward. The other 50% of the time, the car kind of struggles to figure out what it's supposed to do. There's a lot going on under the hood. 2-liter 4-cylinder that's turbocharged, so you have a little bit of turbo lag, combined with the electric motor, which gives you the instant torque. Sometimes the handoff between electricity and internal combustion engine isn't the smoothest, and you feel some power surges. Sometimes it's even a bit jarring as it switches. Again, half the time it works excellent, but the other half of the time you do kind of notice it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, because most of the time you're probably going to be driving around in pure mode, which is the all-electric mode. The reason you are buying a plug-in hybrid is probably because you want to be driving most of the time around town, day to day, on electricity alone, and just have the added benefit of a gas engine if you need to go on long road trips. That is what plug-in hybrids are for. I really only recommend buying one if you have access to charging. It can even just be a normal 3-prong outlet. That is sufficient enough to charge this vehicle overnight, so that you can start each day with a full charge. That is how you get the most out of a plug-in hybrid powertrain. And that is how you get the most out of this Volvo XC60, because once the battery is depleted, then it's just operating like a normal hybrid. But this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder makes 312 horsepower. It's quite thirsty, so you're not going to be getting great efficiency when the battery is depleted. The battery does recharge by you braking and things like that. You won't get any like all electric driving from it, but it will operate like a traditional hybrid. But it's not that efficient in a traditional hybrid setting. You really do want to have charge in the battery and go about your day-to-day like that. And I would say it's plenty powerful enough when it's on electricity alone. It's only 143 horsepower, but for around town, it's plenty. And if you ever are getting onto the highway, well, when you put your foot down enough, the gas engine will kick on so that you can have all of the power you need. Speaking of all of these driving settings, there are 5 drive modes in the XC60. Pure is the all-electric one, and there's a setting to always start the car in pure mode so that you can get the most out of this XC60. I have that on. The next one is hybrid. That kind of chooses between the electric motor and the gas engine, which is most efficient at the time, based on how you're driving, in order to give you the most efficiency. I don't think it's actually that smart, in my opinion. I think I'm able to get more efficiency out of this powertrain than the hybrid setting is. It likes to rely a lot on the electric motor because a lot of time that's the most efficient, but because of that, it will deplete the battery far before it depletes the gas tank, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really spread the electricity out over the size of the gas tank. I wish there was a setting for that. That would make road tripping in this plug-in hybrid a bit better. But hybrid is there. The next one is power. That always keeps the engine running so that you always have that 455 horsepower right at your fingertips. I actually turn the car over to power mode when I go on the freeway, because the gas engine is most efficient on the freeway, the electric motor the least efficient on the freeway. So that way you're getting a little more efficiency out of it. This is what I mean by hybrid, the hybrid mode not being the smartest, because I'm pretty sure you're going to get more out of this combined powertrain if you do power on the freeway, especially if it's only for a short burst. Then there's also constant all-wheel drive to make sure you are always getting power to all 4 wheels, and then an off-road mode, which you probably will never use, especially with these 21-inch rims. Okay, a lot of talking. Basically what you need to know is this is a very comfortable car, a great commuter. I really do recommend charging it every night if you can. Otherwise, I'm not sure a plug-in hybrid is right for you. Volvo doesn't make any traditional hybrids. All their other cars are mild hybrids, which is really just a gas car. And they're not as efficient. I had the V60 cross country, and I think I averaged around 20 mpg in mostly city driving. So they're a little thirsty. And you're really going to see the benefits of this car if you are charging it and driving in pure mode most of the time. And in pure mode, it's so effortlessly quiet in here, and it does lend itself to the premium nature of this car. And don't be fooled by the power. It's not like 455 horsepower from a V8. That isn't what this is. It's a bit different than that, and it's more efficiency focused. And it's also not that athletic of a car. If you're looking for a dynamic Volvo XC60, check out the Polestar engineered. And they also have Polestar engineered versions of the V60. And actually, I think that's the only way you can still get the V60 in the United States. You can get the V60 cross country, but the actual wagon version is only Polestar engineered now. Volvo makes excellent cars, and this XC60 is no exception.
So that's the 2024 Volvo XC60 Recharge Ultimate Black Edition. The list of good things about this car is nearly as long as its name, and I think this vehicle is a case in point that Volvo is not trying to play anyone else's game. They have figured out their own thing, both in terms of powertrains, design, and overall vibe, and that thing is pretty excellent. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.